Hey, today we're looking at 10 very common English grammar mistakes. Now, English learners of all levels sometimes make these mistakes. We're going to look at why each one is wrong and, of course, how you can fix it. So, let's get started. The first common grammar mistake is mixing up adjectives that end with ed and adjectives that end with ing, like bored and boring, interested and interesting. Now, adjectives that end with ed describe how a person feels, and adjectives that end with ing describe a situation or a thing. So, for example, sometimes I hear people say, I am boring, okay? I am boring. When this is incorrect, this means that they are a boring person. They're not fun. It should be, I am bored. So again, ed describes a feeling. So for example, I am bored because this movie is boring, okay? Another example, I am interested in learning more about this project because this project sounds very interesting, okay? One more example. They were entertained because the show was really entertaining, all right? So again, if you are describing how you feel, remember to use adjectives that end with ed. So I am bored, I am interested, I am entertained, all right? And when you are describing the thing or the situation, you use adjectives with ing. So the movie was interesting, boring, or entertaining. Our second common grammar mistake is using the present perfect simple tense when you should be using the past simple tense. So basically mixing up the present perfect simple and the past simple tense. For example, if you say, I have told him yesterday, instead of I told him yesterday, that is incorrect. So I have told him yesterday is incorrect. It's not correct. I told him yesterday. Remember that you use the past simple tense for things that are completely finished actions, and we use the present perfect simple tense for actions that started and are still going on or still happening or still true. So in this example, I told him yesterday. The action is me telling him some information. So I told him and it's finished, right? He has the information, but the action is me actually speaking or telling him, and that verb is finished, the action is done. Another example, I have bought this jacket last week. I have bought this jacket last week. This is not correct. It should be, I bought this jacket last week, because in this example, we have a specific date or a specific time, which is last week, okay? And the action of buying and paying for the jacket is finished. So I own the jacket, I have the jacket, but the action here is purchasing or buying the jacket, all right? One more example, I have visited my friends on the weekend is not correct. It should be, I visited my friends on the weekend. So in this example, imagine that the weekend is over, I see you and I say, how was your weekend? What did you do? You should just say, I visited my friends on the weekend, okay? So again, remember that past simple tense is used when something is finished, okay? Now I do have a full lesson explaining all 12 of the tenses in English. I will link that below so you can check it out if you have trouble with any of the tenses and you confuse them. Grammar mistake number 3 is using the present continuous tense to share facts about your life. You should be using the present simple tense to tell people facts about your life. So for example, if you say, I am living in Dubai, I am working in Dubai, this is not correct. It should be, I live and work in Dubai. I live in Dubai and I work in Dubai, because these things are facts, all right? If you say, I am working at the bank, this is incorrect. It should be, I work at the bank, okay? If you say, I am living in an apartment, again, this is not correct. It's just, I live in an apartment. Now, this is a very common mistake that I hear all the time, and I understand why people make this mistake, because you are thinking that, okay, these things are happening now, they're going on in my life, but we use the present continuous to talk about temporary things, not permanent factual things, all right? So remember that if you are sharing facts or general information about your life, just use the present simple. So I'll tell you some facts about my life using the present simple tense, all right? So as you know, my name is Julie. I am a freelance English language teacher. I live in Dubai. I teach students face-to-face here, and I work online. I live in an apartment with my partner. I don't have any kids, I'm not married, and I don't have any pets. I love Dubai as a city. It's a really nice place to live. It's a little bit expensive, but I recommend visiting if you can. So if you need to, you can rewind a little bit and listen to this example again. So whenever you are introducing yourself to someone new or just sharing some general information or facts about your life, use the present simple. Grammar mistake number 4 is mixing up for and since with the present perfect simple tense. So if you say, I have lived in Dubai since 5 years, this is not correct. It should be, I have lived in Dubai for 5 years. Now, we use for and since with the present perfect to talk about how long or the duration of something, how long something has been happening. But we use for with a length of time, and we use since when we say the starting point or the starting period, okay? So for example, for 5 years, for 5 weeks, for 5 months, for 5 hours, for my whole life, for a long time, for ages, for as long as I can remember, okay? And since last month, last week, since January, since the beginning of the year, since I was a child, since I started working at this company. So remember that for talks about a duration and since goes before the starting point of something. Grammar mistake number 5 is using will twice with the first conditional. For example, if I will have time, I will come to the party. If I will have time, I will come to the party. This is not correct. It should be, if I have time, I will come to the party, okay? Now, the first conditional has basically 2 parts. We have the if part and then the result, okay? So if I have time, this is the first part. I will come to the party, this is the result, this is the second part. So the part of the sentence that has if cannot also have will. I do have a full lesson on the first conditional, so if you make this mistake, make sure you check that lesson out. I will link it in the description below. Mistake number 6 is using the verb to have instead of to be to talk about age. So if you say, I have 33 years old, or he has 10 years old, this is not correct. When you are talking about your age or anyone else's age, you have to use the verb to be. For example, I am 33. He is 10, or he is 10 years old, all right? So do not use have or has when you are talking about how old someone is. Grammar mistake number 7 is mixing up the order of your words in indirect questions. For example, if you say, can you tell me where is the ATM? Can you tell me where is the ATM? This question is not correct. It should be, can you tell me where the ATM is? Can you tell me where the ATM is? Okay? Or if you say, can you tell me what is this for? Can you tell me what is this for? This is not correct. It should be, can you tell me what this is for? Okay, now with indirect questions, the beginning part is the question and the second part is like a statement or a phrase. So can you tell me, this is the question, and where the ATM is a statement or a phrase, okay? If you say, can you tell me where is the ATM? It's like you're asking 2 questions, but we only need 1 question, all right? I do have a full lesson on how to make and ask polite indirect questions. I will also link that lesson down below in the description. Common mistake number 8 is mixing up anybody, and nobody. Anybody and nobody. Now the word nobody means no people, and the word anybody means any person or people out of a group, but not any one in particular. So any random person out of a group. For example, I didn't know anybody at the party. I didn't know anybody at the party. So in this example, we have a group of people at a party, and I did not know any of those people. So I'm not talking about one specific person, just anyone out of the whole group. I didn't know them, okay? So it's not correct to say, I didn't know nobody at the party, okay? You can use nobody like this. You can say, nobody was home, okay? I went to my friend's house, I knocked on the door, and nobody was home. There were no people there. Mistake number 9 is using more in front of short comparative adjectives. For example, if you say, December was more colder. December was more colder. Or the first movie was more funnier. These are incorrect because colder and funnier actually mean more cold or more funny. So we don't need this extra more. Now keep in mind that with longer adjectives like interesting, we do need to use more to make them a comparative adjective. So for example, the first movie was more interesting than the second movie. Okay, so with shorter adjectives, with ER, you don't need to add more, but with longer adjectives, you do need to add more in front of it. And number 10 is using the preposition to with modal verbs or after modals. For example, I should to go home early tonight. I can to help you. Now these are incorrect. It's a very common mistake, but with modals, we do not use to after them. So after must, will, shall, can, could, may, and might, we just use a base verb, but no to. So there you have 10 common English mistakes that you can easily avoid or stop making if you have been making these mistakes. Now, I do want to remind you that making mistakes in English is not the end of the world. It's part of the process of learning a language, so don't stress if you have been making any of these mistakes, all right? What you can do is kind of focus on one of them at a time. Let's say after this lesson you realized, oh no, I'm making 3 to 5 or more or all of these mistakes. That's okay. Just pick one and try to focus on improving and correcting that mistake first, and then pick another one and move on to the next one, all right? And the benefit of fixing these little mistakes is that your English will just be more polished, okay? So again, don't stress or beat yourself up if you make mistakes. No big deal at all. This lesson is to help you identify and correct the mistakes so that you will feel more confident with your English, all right? If you have any questions, please do leave them down below for me. As well, don't forget to grab your free ebook, English Conversations Made Simple. The link is down below this lesson. Thank you so much for watching and for learning with me today, and I will see you soon in the next lesson.